Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Joining me is Eric Cain of Locked On Vols. Eric, the big debate, and I'll let you. I'm going to give you sort of my thought process on this, and then I want you to give me yours because I feel like the two-way star in college football is going to become like a huge thing because of Travis Hunter. Like every player in who's every recruit wants to be a two-way star, and for the longest time, it felt like no one allowed it. And then Deion Sanders took that risk, and it ended up being the best thing, and probably in recent college football memory. Like I feel like you cannot tell the story of college football in the 2020s without at least mentioning Travis Hunter and how dynamic he was. That being said, a lot of people are going to try to imitate Travis Hunter, but it's hard to replicate Travis Hunter. And I think that's the problem that Colorado sort of finds itself in with a few players. Isaiah Harge, who's at Tennessee now, is one of those things where it's like, can they figure out how to make it work? And so the noise right now is Boo Carter is going to play defensive back. We'll just say that because I've heard safety. He signed as a safety in the graphic, but he plays nickel. He could do everything. And then Brennan Marion, who's a new offensive coordinator, posted the other day and was like, safety/running back ? And so is there a possibility that Boo Carter could play both? I feel like that's a very big ask. I think it'd be easier if it was DB wide receiver, but Colorado has way too many wide receivers. And I don't really know if they can give him the snaps he'd probably want at wide receiver. So it's DB running back. Do you foresee that happening?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Travis Hunter's one-on-one, right? I mean, like, you have naysayers like me in Tennessee saying, well, that's never going to work. That's not going to work. Oh, dang. Wow, look at that guy go. Wow, always doing the offense and defense. I mean, goodness gracious. Like, I know that's what football was back in the day, but I mean, this is 2026. Like, we just don't have those players anymore. Or you don't utilize those players like that anymore just because the game's never been faster, never been more physical. You got defensive players out there playing 80-plus snaps a game. I mean, depending on the offense, Tennessee's offense runs, it's one of the fastest offense in the country due to tempo. So you just don't see those. So, I mean, I will say that there's not a lot of Travis Hunters out there. Having said that, like, when you have a guy like Boo Carter, you don't necessarily have to force anything. Just kind of let it come to you. Like, Boo Carter is dynamic. Again, I mentioned earlier, with the football in his hands, that's why I love him in the return game. His best position offensively, and listen, I did a couple of his games in high school on TV, like 4 or 5 of them. He returned the football at Tennessee. They were trying to work him in at wide receiver last spring, but then, the summer happened, and they were just like, okay, if you're back on the team, you're focusing on this position, and that's it. So it really never happened in a football game. But he was going to play a little bit of wide receiver, but I never really saw that. Like, to me, his best position on offense is running the football, running back. Now, in Big 12 football and college football, Power 5 football, like, it's Power 4. The beating, like, between the tackles, can he do that? I don't know, but what I do know is his vision is superb. His speed is great. His quickness, his lateral quickness is really good. Like, sure, you can throw the football out to him in the flat as a screen or whatever and see what he can do. I mean, he can run the routes and all that, but I do think, with the football in his hands, lining up in the backfield, I think would be his best strength. Now, is that doable at this level of football, to your point? I have no clue. I don't think so. I think it's much easier, like you said, to play a little wide receiver, play a little DB. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens. But if he is a running back, he is not getting 10-plus carries a game. Just not. Or if he is, he's not playing much defense. It's just, I don't think it's possible really on the reg for college football right now. But I'll be intrigued to see what happens because, again, he is really, really good with the football in his hands.
Yeah, I think it's one of those weird things where it's like someone did it, but like Travis Hunter doing it is such a different world because he played two positions where I'm not saying – because Travis Hunter played literally every snap. And I'm not saying he ever took snaps off, but he could have, right? He could have been like, okay, like on this wide receiver route, like I'm kind of the decoy guy here. So I'm going to run my route, but I'm not like, this isn't 1,000%, right? Yeah. At running back and linebacker, there is no like 50% rep at running back at DB. And so I just think it gets difficult. The only other example that I could think of that was a running back and a defensive player was Miles Jack at UCLA. And I don't remember how often they split it up, and I'm going to have to look more into that because I think that's the best comparison. But Miles Jack was ginormous. He was, he played linebacker. He was drafted as a linebacker, so he was a big guy. So we'll have to see how this unfolds. I think the other interesting aspect about Boo Carter playing both ways as well is Colorado's now running the go-go offense, which is 2 running backs. It's going to be very confusing. I think Brennan Marion, if there's anyone in college football that could scheme Boo Carter open per se on a run, it'd be Brennan Marion, because the offense is so weird looking. It's so confusing. It's predicated on confusing the defense and like not allowing them to just be like, okay, we could predict what happens here. So two-way potential for Boo Carter is there. I think you hit it on the head though, Eric, and I would like you to maybe touch on this again, just because I don't want people to think it's just me being like, oh, it can't happen. I'm not trying to send any negativity your way, but like, can you sort of elaborate on like the difficulty of playing running back and defensive back? Like, why is that so hard in your opinion?
Well, I mean, defensive back, I mean, defense is reactionary first and foremost. So you got to sit there and read. You got to diagnose, run pass. Okay, what's my guy doing? I got to react off that. Oh, what's my responsibility? I mean, everybody has responsibility every single play, but defense, it's only in heightened because you're in reaction mode. And then, oh, yeah, you know, you're playing power four football. That guy on the other side of you is really, really fast, or that guy on the end man of the line of scrimmage is very, very physical. So, you know, it's a challenge in that regard. Plus, I think playing nickelback is maybe the hardest position. I mean, cornerback's hard. Quarterback, of course, is hard. Slot corner, nickelback, I mean, depending on, you know, the defense you run, I think that is so incredibly difficult because oftentimes they put their fastest guy in the slot. So, or that just kind of what that slot receiver is. And then at running back, it's the physicality. I'm not saying you're not physical if you're a wide receiver or anything else, but running backs take hits all the time. A lot of times if you're not carrying the football, you're sitting there in pass pro and you are getting lit up because a linebacker is blitzing or a Boo Carter from the outside of the second level is coming back. You got to step across the center, go out there and meet him head on. And, you know, you might not fall down, but the contact is what I'm trying to say. So there's just so much physicality at that position. So it can happen. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can do it. I'm just not expecting, if you're sitting here expecting, okay, Boo Carter is going to be our starting star and he's going to play, he's going to get 15 carries a game and, you know, we'll throw it to him a few times. That's just not going to happen. I can't speak for Colorado, I guess, but I don't envision that happening. Could he be a guy that you're starting star and then a guy that comes in on offense and rotates in and touches the ball, you know, 5 or 6 times a game? Sure. I could absolutely see that. But is he going to be the next Travis Hunter playing specifically nickelback and running back? I do not think so. I mean, again, that guy was 101. So we'll see what happens, but I just think that in college football 2026, it's just unheard of. But hey, again, you guys had a guy that did some unheard of things just a couple of years ago, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's the crazy thing about college football is you never know what to expect. I mean, we saw that this past Monday night with the championship. So, Eric, I appreciate you hopping on and joining us, giving us some insight on Boo Carter. I'm sure we'll interact more because I feel like Colorado and Tennessee have like they have to make at least one trade per off season, I think is what we've gathered. Like it has to happen. So I'll probably be on your site. You'll be on mine again. So appreciate you for hopping on. Tell the people where they can find you for all Locked On Vols coverage. Because eventually next year we're going to see a future Colorado player, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And if you want to learn more about that, and it's a Locked On Vols anywhere you get your podcasts. And I mean, again, there's a handful of players that have been swapped, you know, back and forth between these two programs. So you ever have a need to learn about the incoming player, come check us out over at Locked On Vols, of course, on YouTube and on social media and all that.
Yeah, Eric does a great job over there. When we come back, I'm going to be talking about Jordan Seaton. Is it over for Colorado, or is there a chance, a small chance that he could come back? But we're going to take a quick break. Let's talk Jordan Seaton. So the number one offensive tackle in the portal is still in the market, and his recruitment has taken a little bit of a surprising twist. According to On3, Oregon is no longer getting a visit. They are doing their best to get what Pete Nakos called a FaceTime visit. So just a little chat over the phone. There's 3 schools in the mix. Before I tell you that, though, I want to let you guys know about our Everydayer Club. I would really think you would enjoy it. We're going to be having a lot of discussions and possible little updates on things that haven't been revealed yet, like a couple coaching hires that I'm aware of. LockedOnBuffs.supercast.com. Go check it out. It's really cool. You can connect. You can ask me questions. You could say, hey, I think you're stupid. Whatever you want to say, you could say it in there. And we could have our own little community. It'd be really fun. And you could see what other hosts around the Big 12 are talking about as well. So sign up for that. I'll put the link in the show description. I think it's going to be really cool once it gets going. Okay, let's talk about the schools that are in the mix. It's Miami and LSU, right? Oregon is sort of that outlier. Miami and LSU are sort of LSU is viewed as the favorite. Miami is sort of picking up some steam right now. And if I'm Colorado, I'm happy that Oregon's not getting them. One, just because it's Oregon, and you don't want anything good to happen to Oregon. But two, the less teams that are in the mix, the better. And I'm not really sure where Colorado stands in this mixture anymore. I don't even know how badly they would want him to come back. Like, I'm sure they'd want Jordan Seaton back, but the reports are saying he's supposed to get anywhere from $2 to $4 million. And so if he is solely transferring for the money, I imagine that based on Colorado's recent surge in the portal, they have been spending money elsewhere, and they will continue to spend that money. So if I'm Colorado, if Jordan Seaton says, hey, you know what? I'll come back on what I was making last year, a little bit more, I would do it. But if Jordan Seaton comes back and says, hey, I'm only considering coming back if you pay me $5 million, $4 million, then that's when you're okay to part ways. And Colorado has done their best. They've done a really good job, I would say, of bolstering their unit in the transfer portal, right? They've brought in 4 offensive tackles. A lot of them have starting experience at the Power 4 level. And I think Colorado is sort of planning for life post Jordan Seaton. And I keep seeing a lot of people saying, oh, why didn't he have a plan going into the portal? When Coach Prime says a player should have a plan, it doesn't apply to the Jordan Seatons of the world. Like, I think it's smart to have a plan, like, so that way you know what your market is. But Jordan Seaton is going to end up somewhere, right? The schools that are no longer on the mix, Texas, Oregon seems to be trending in the wrong direction, and Mississippi State are not there. He still has LSU, Miami. I'm sure other schools like Texas Tech would get in the mix if they knew he was interested. Like, Jordan Seaton is going to have his pick of the litter. So that doesn't necessarily apply to him. So I understand why he's taken a long time to sort of get his decision made. In terms of Colorado, I think they have planned for life without him already. And I think that's a good position to be in, because why would you want to wait around for someone who you don't know if he's going to come back or not? And I do think I have the Seaton coming back percent chance at 15, right? Yolanda's cousin, that bumped it up from, I was previously at 11. I think you're at 15% chance of him coming back. You're kind of, the way Colorado's moving to me reads they are planning to not have Jordan Seaton. Now, it'd be one thing if they were solely adding every other position across the offensive line except for left tackle, but it looks to me like they're trying to find a left tackle in this hodgepodge of guys that they're bringing in. And I think they're within this group, they're going to find 1 or 2 guys that could start. Plus, you bring back Larry Johnson at right tackle. Like, Colorado is pretty set at the tackle spots. So it'll be interesting to see what Seaton does. I'm confident that I'm confident in Colorado's class right now. If you look at where they rank in the Big 12, second best class in the Big 12 in the transfer portal. And honestly, the way Texas Tech is spending money, Colorado may as well be the first place team in the Big 12, right? Because Texas Tech is on a whole nother level. They're spending more than some of the SEC and Big 10 programs. But if you're Colorado, you have to like where you're at with this portal class. I'm impressed. I think that there's, I want to say a ton of room for improvement, but like I would say I'm pretty happy. I would say if there's any positions where I would like Colorado to go get more, it's like interior defensive lineman, just another 1 or 2 more to have more depth. I like how they attacked the running back room. I think the corners and safeties are all looking pretty good. Wide receiver, I mean, best wide receiver corps in the Big 12 is my opinion on the group. So Colorado's nailing the portal. I think the other day they were called losers of the transfer portal, which made 0 sense. It was solely because they lost Jordan Seaton and not because of anything else. And is Jordan Seaton a great player? Yes. Is Colorado's offensive prowess and scheme now predicated on sort of what his weakness is? Yeah. So I think both parties can end up being just fine. I think Colorado fans would have liked to see Jordan Seaton finish out his career, especially since they gave him the Buff Award. But either way, that's how the portal be, right? Until there's rules to prevent these guys from just jumping all over the yard and get millions over here, millions over there. Like, this is what college football is. And your best bet is to either be able to pay someone or have a plan to split up. Like, say Jordan Seaton was making $1 million at Colorado. Well, if they didn't give Tafik Bayard $500,000, that means Colorado's probably trying to spend anywhere from 100 to 300K, I would guess, and probably a little less for some guys. But with $1 million at, say, 300K, right? You're bringing in 3 transfers, right? If you're bringing 100K, you're bringing in a bunch of transfers, 10 transfers, right? So either way, like, you have to understand, like, I think Colorado has attacked the portal well enough. I'm not sure what else other people would have wanted I guess. Like I think after losing Jordan Seaton, they recovered really well. So I'm Kevin Borba, host of Locked On Buffs. If you haven't checked it out already, Nathan Mitchell, Colorado safety, hopped on the show earlier this week. Go check that episode out. Really fun getting to know him. We're going to talk to some more insiders from around the country to learn more about the transfers we got coming in. Up next is Jaden Hardy from Oklahoma. I'm excited to see what he brings to the table, and we'll talk to one of our Locked On Sooners hosts. So appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and I'll see all of you tomorrow.